Camouflage, mom. My name is Kosha Dillz, man. I'm gonna take y'all on a trip. Where are we going? I don't know, man. Come on, good news. Just got my tag.
Here we are with Kosha Dillz. This is our episode 4.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
This is it.
So let's go early on with you. So your parents are Israeli. Is that correct?
Yep. Parents are Israeli.
And then when did they come here?
Parents came here in the 70s. This is like mid 70s, a little bit late. Yeah, 76, I think they
So
came.
you're first American born?
Yeah,
the family?
my family. My brothers were born in Israel. Everyone was born. So I'm like the first American.
Gotcha. And then you grew up where?
Jersey. So my folks came first to New York. It was like the Bronx. And then I'm a Jersey guy. So that was it. First 29 years of my life before I moved to LA.
Okay, so first 29 years in Jersey?
Uh-huh.
All right, cool. So are you is your family music? Like, do you come from a musical family, or what are your parents doing here? when they
Yeah,
come
my
here?
parents are workers. You know, I think all the immigrant families were workers. I don't think that, you know, maybe somebody else made music, but I'm the only person that made music in my family.
Gotcha. Did they push education? Was school a big thing growing up?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think, you know, at the time that I was going to college, you know, I was wrestling. So I ended up going to Rutgers, did D1 wrestling there. And education is basically everything, because they were like, what are you going to businessman? I think it was going to be like toward business management or something.
So when you
there's really nothing that I don't know what the jobs was. I think like the goal was like get a job and make like 80 grand a year or some
go
shit
to college,
like that.
get a job, go to college, and just be a 9 to 5,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's it.
So when you start wrestling, so we're talking high school wrestling, junior high school. So it started there.
Even elementary school. I started when I was 8.
Wow.
So
Were you inspired? Were you inspired by any?
just my brothers. That was it. Yeah,
right.
I just kind of did what they did
Around the
know?
house, right? Starting in the house.
Yeah, I think. Well, my brother Zach was a bodybuilder, and he won Mr. Israel actually.
Wow.
And he went on. Now he's a strength coach. And my brother Alon, he was Israeli military and stuff, and he was the best, probably the better wrestler than my other brother. But my brother Zach was obsessed with wrestling.
And that came onto you, right? That bled off to you.
Yeah. And they were, and I was winning. They were like really, I was just kind of amazed by it, because wrestling was this way that I could like impress my brothers without like really, I could win, right, without like communicating properly, verbally, but I could just win, and that makes everybody happy.
So that acceptance. So maybe you weren't looking for the acceptance from your parents. It was like your brother was your idol.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting. And it's just, now that I think about like the wrestling, that's like winning at wrestling was like making everybody proud. You know what I'm saying? So I could just win, be successful, and not be able to communicate, which is, I don't know, probably an issue I have today.
Well, hey, man, that's part. It starts early.
Yeah. So.
No, I understand.
But that was the big thing, you know.
And then so you're growing up, you're wrestling. Then when you're in high school, you start getting noticed. Okay, like I could probably get a scholarship here. Was that the goal?
That was in college, right? You were D1. You said at Rutgers.
Yeah. Like,
you start getting noticed in high school, though.
Yeah, but high school was when I started winning. Like, I won the counties, I went to the states, and then just slowly like coming out of my maybe shell. I don't know what that may be, but being able to go from high school to wrestling in college was big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal, especially at Rutgers at the time. Now Rutgers even is a beast of a school, but at that time, though, there were other people that were really, really like, succeeding extensively, going to state tournaments and stuff, and they were maybe D3, but D1 was big.
It's a big deal.
It's a big
I think
deal.
in any sport. So going back, right? So you're a wrestler. Who's influencing you? Are you like influenced by the Beastie Boys, like Rum DNC? Are you this East Coast kind of thing?
Oh, for the music thing?
Yeah, has that hit you yet or no?
So my brother, my earliest like memories, at least for the music, it was really diverse. So I would listen to the Walkman, before wrestling matches. I think I had this is maybe from 14 to 17. It went from everything from like Rancid, Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, Pantera from my brother, Zach, and then like having Biggie Smalls, Tupac, and Wu-Tang. And because Wu-Tang's Staten Island, so we're in Jersey, it's right there, and that's sort of like that era when it was really coming out. And one of the kids on my wrestling team, my buddy Dale, he just had we called him Demole. Demole had all the Wu-Tang stuff, and this is when I kind of started rapping with him, and then other people.
What age is this?
This is 17.
So 17.
Well, really 15, but like I really started. By the time my senior year in high school came, I was already rapping in New York. Like I went into my first battle. Like I was 17 in November, and then like come December, January or February it was. Then I think it was in January, and then I like advanced in the rap battle.
And what age is this? 17, 18?
17,
Gotcha.
yeah,
So you weren't
17.
like 10 years old, like 12 years old? Okay.
No.
That's how I was. I was like that. I was like singing
when
New
you
Kids
were-
on the Block and freestyle rapping when I was like 12, 13. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's crazy. Yeah, nah. This started at that time, and then back then, really, you were just like writing everything. But once I would get the adrenaline, I would forget a lot of stuff. It's hard, you know.
So when you rap, are you just coming off the top of your head? Are you just freestyling everything?
Yeah, I'm just like kind of like writing in my head, and just trying to kind of navigate that. But like most of the time now in a studio, you know, I'll write my songs, but everything else is like, okay, you know, became like freestyle rap has become this sort of like a special party trick that you can kind of
Entertain people.
Yeah, exactly. And then I started doing that, and as people like freestyle rap more than songs.
Yeah.
You know, because if no one knows the song, it's not as fun to.
And it's almost
perform it.
comedic too, because you could, if you want, like you're freestyling and you want to like get someone's attention or make someone laugh, you could say it's like kind of what you're doing now. You know, you're rapping to like battle, and so there's that side of it as well.
Yeah, and it's like once you start beginning to go to freestyle rap all the time, you master that, and then it's almost easier to freestyle than it is to write. So you're like, okay, I need to be writing more.
Yeah.
The more you write, the more you have things to freestyle about, because now you have more things in your repertoire that you were rehearsing so many times, so it like sticks in part of your brain.
Understood.
I think.
We're gonna circle back to that. I want to go back to the teenage years. So so when you're a teenager, are there certain friends? I know you said you were sober 18 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind we talk about this?
No, yeah,
Okay.
let's go for
So
it.
was there, going back to like teenage years? I mean, was it just the friends you were hanging out with? Like, what was the first drug you took? Was it marijuana?
Yeah.
Is it like the
It's
gateway?
funny. Yeah, marijuana's my gateway drug. Nah, I mean, like my first. So when I speak about like my addiction stuff, there's certain things that happen first. You know, like first, you're probably gonna go to like, man, if you're really really young, like the whole my neighborhood was just so fucked up. If I think about it, it's like if there was a movie about my neighborhood, it reminds me of like The Sandlot. But it was like all with like weird drugs and like probably like abuse and like family homes. And if I think about the place that I grew up, there were people that got like locked up for like sexual abuse. Everyone went to jail. All the kids went to jail at least once. And this is in a suburban Edison, New Jersey.
This is suburbia?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this is
So it's
suburbia, but not like upper class. I think there's like an upper class suburbia, and this is like maybe a little bit lower class suburbia. I don't know. Does that make sense? And because there's two sides of town. There's a North Edison and a South Edison. And I think once the drugs got like introduced, I remember I got drunk the first time, like probably 12 and then 15, and I got blacked out at like some bridge party, and that whole ordeal was rough. And after I came back and I got like a high SAT score to get into college, I remember that entire summer I got fucked up. Like, and then I came back and my score was lower, right? Because I was like, all right, I got like 1190 or something. So
That's impressive.
So senior year, then I was just like, okay, you know, who cares? It's just and then by the time I was in college and getting arrested once on my birthday, then and like hiding from my parents and then going to school, you know, it was already kind of picking up. That was like, okay, I'm just gonna start getting high as much as I can.
But what are you getting in trouble for? Are you just like
urine test, weed, and then but then like I just started selling drugs in college like immediately. Once I bought something, I was like, why would I buy less when I could buy more, get more stuff for like a better price?
You were thinking,
yeah, if I could get like 5 for $20, why would I buy it for $8? You know what I'm saying? That's how I would just operate.
And you were selling what, weed?
Everything, really. Weed. Then it was like I had opium, mushrooms, acid. This was like throughout the years, ecstasy, coke. Like it kind of like just grew as I just got arrested more.
So you're a
But my
businessman.
big, yeah,
In a
I
way.
think
In a
in
way,
a way,
though, it teaches
that was
you.
my
I mean-
first stuff. It definitely taught me how to hustle to people. And, you know, my sales tactics, at least like when you're selling merchandise at a show, after a show, and you're like at a merch table and you're like, hey, these are my t-shirts. I got my socks. I mean, they really like wearing all my merch. I got my hats. If you come from like the era of like New York City clubs where I used to sell like XC and you used to like whisper in people's ears and stuff like that. And this is like some really nerdy businessman stuff, I think, when you're like, yo, I got this, I got that, you know. That really does kind of help you in the world of sales because you could literally,
Yeah. And when you, especially in the club, because I kind of have that similar story when I was like 21 in Vegas.
yeah, okay.
friend
I
would
was
buy
literally
my-
doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and you would be in the club with a bunch of pills in your pocket,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, I got da 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 da, and I was like, I would love to like, I could be in a room, right, and navigating, and there'd be 1,000 people, and I know exactly who's selling.
And they will come back too. An hour later, man, I need more.
Yeah,
Like, their friends are coming.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
yeah.
And you're like, the energy you get from like being the man, and it's just like, you
Yeah.
know,
It's
it's
a-
a different way to live, and not that many people experience it. I think it's a pretty horrible way to live.
But it's
like,
acceptance at the time. You
yeah,
know, 'cause
yeah,
you
yeah.
feel
At the
good.
time,
You're
at the time, it
you're
really
needing,
was.
you're trying to fulfill that need,
Dude,
you know?
Yeah.
I get you. I get it.
And so that was like a gradual ramp up. High school, you would dabble with the crew. College, you started to use and sell. And then did it just ramp up to like more daily use, or you were like,
Yeah, well, once after I got arrested for, like, I was like 20. What is it? When I got locked up for all the ecstasy in college, and then I was like on a rampage, and then I was doing time on my first offense. I was like so offended. I was like, and I remember I was like in the lawyer's office. My dad was paid for, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
To like
paid for
get
an
me
attorney,
out.
yeah.
He paid for it. And if I think of it now, it's so crazy because I could have you could do so much time for like such a minimal amount of ecstasy. Now they're using it for like psychotherapy. It's fucking
Yeah.
bananas. to
Times
me.
are changed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And back then it was treated like fentanyl, like when I got arrested for ecstasy. And if you think about it, I don't know, I felt like, even though I didn't really have much, my parents were rich enough, but I was just like so privileged with like the idea that I'm like, I deserve more. And it was like, I got a pill. My friend let me make $5 on this pill. I sold it to this guy who told on me, and
So you're in
now-
trouble for one pill.
I'm getting. It was like 15 or something like
Yeah.
that. But it was like, I was like the big bad person of like the world. You know, I was like the dope dealer. of
People were
that
looking
time.
down on you.
Yeah,
And it
oh,
hurt you.
but,
It hurt
like,
you emotionally, right? Kind of.
just everything. It's just weird. And then I remember like coming back out of jail, and people were like, "Welcome home." Like, it was like.
and were you in D1 wrestling like actively at that moment in time?
No. So after 2 years, once that started happening, I was like,
Lost
it was
it.
a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was off the team.
How long were you in jail for? So for that offense, how long were you in for?
Like 3 months.
Are you in like county jail? County.
Yeah, I was supposed to be. They were trying to give me 5 years in prison for this. It
Oh.
was so crazy. I pled guilty to like 9 months,
Gotcha.
and then we got paroled, and then you're like in the system of like parole and probation, and then I went back again.
So real
Like
quick.
two-
So
yeah.
when you come out, right? So you come out, you did your 3 months, and now you're kind of in the system. Now you got to check in. You got to go talk to
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah, that's
So
a
it's
wrap.
like, okay. So then you're doing that. So you come out. You play right for a minute. Are you good for a minute? So are you going
Not
right back?
really.
Nah. So you're like,
Yeah,
the punishment wasn't good enough to wake you up.
Nah, I think I sold drugs. I was like in an armed robbery within like a week.
You were doing the armed robbery,
No.
or you got robbed?
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that.
Gotcha. So then, so that happened. So right now you're like 21.
21, yeah.
21. So then okay, so that's the first time? Is that the first one?
Yeah, it was the first big.
Okay,
first
so then
one.
you come out, and then what are you thinking? Like, so okay, I got to get my shit
Gotta
together.
get a
or-
girlfriend,
okay.
gotta get stop getting high, maybe just drink, just sell
Yeah.
drugs. And then navigating that
No
didn't-
direction yet, right? You don't know where you're going. in
Nah.
life. Yeah, just young.
but just try to make money and stack bread and I was always obsessed with stacking bread.
Well, yeah.
And then like eventually I started getting high again.
But what drug are you taking at this point?
Coke.
Okay. So were you an everyday coke user at this point?
No.
Socially?
But it really wasn't until the end, maybe for like another year, and then whenever the girl that I was dating would like leave, I would just
It would
get
trigger
super
something.
high.
Yeah,
Dude, it would
Yeah.
it was a wrap. So
Yeah.
toward the end, I was getting really, really high, and this is like 2004.
Okay.
And OxyContin was like just getting introduced to the area, which I totally like missed. I'm so grateful, but that ended up, and I was selling cemetery plots door to door. This was like my job. This was like, oh man, I'm killing. Like literally, I would think it was so funny. I was like, I'm killing it.
Technically,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I'll sell you coke, and then I'll sell you a cemetery plot, like a two-way investment. And I was, my one friend that I hustled with was like, everyone's starting to get locked up. Like this my other homie, now he has like a trucking business. It's so amazing what we've all like kind of
Yeah,
done.
how you've all evolved, right?
Yeah, and he was like always, my boy Jay, he was like always like trying to get to the bread, like by any means necessary, legal, illegal. And then it's just so funny how the legal businesses that we all went into made us more money than all the drugs. Like it was
Yeah.
just so
It's funny
crazy.
how that
Never
works.
thought you could sell anything legal for more money. That
You
lifestyle
didn't realize.
was-
You thought the streets was how you're gonna make the most
yeah,
money.
and it's like other day I was selling socks, and I'm like, I make more money off socks than I did off drugs, like selling like pickles. These socks,
Pickle socks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking bananas, right?
Pickles, actually.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
but
Yeah.
like it's so crazy how my mind was so warped. So toward the end, and this is like, and just on the spiritual level, like I had all these drugs in my pocket. And I ran from the police back into the school, and then like the cops didn't check me, and I had like half ounce of coke in my pocket, and then I got it out in handcuffs, and they didn't find it under discovery, and I was coming from like probation, so I was like guaranteed to do state time for sure, and they didn't find it. They found like small amounts of drugs that was in my car and some like weed, as I was set up in like a sting operation. And that was it. So that was like end of July 30th, 2004, July 20th.
And that was the last time you ever.
That was it.
That was the wake up call.
And you had
That
just
was
a
it.
big bag that you were cuffed up, and you somehow.
Yeah, when I
just,
got
like-
it, yeah, and I had
And you like
these-
threw it into the grass or something.
So,
like,
it
into some
dropped in front
brushes?
of all the students. It was so crazy. It was like this. Like it was like everyone like lights, camera, action on me. Like, oh my God, that guy is like just ran. I like ran back into the school like thinking maybe I'll just go back and like take the test.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it just dropped right there. And I was just like, oh my God, I didn't find it. And I
got
was,
lucky.
then I was, they put you in a 23-hour lockdown in Middlesex, and then you're like there, and then I went to rehab, and that was eventually, and that was it.
So that was it. So that was the wake up call. Like
That was it for me.
yeah.
That was that, because I was trying to wake up before that, and I was like looking for like an answer. I was like praying, and I don't know,
now.
some shit.
So you go to rehab. Now, when you get out of rehab, are you doing AA or anything? Like, are you in a program?
yeah, I'm like just
12-step?
doing 12-step stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's key, right, to sobriety.
I think so. I think community's key.
Yeah.
You know, people find their stuff in 12-step world. That's kind of like that was like my groove. And that's just been like that for,
Ever since.
very long time. Yeah, 18 and a half years.
Let's
right
go.
now.
Let's go back to Judaism real quick. So, for me personally, growing up, I don't want to say the word ashamed to be Jewish, but I used to hide being Jewish.
Yeah.
Because growing up in Las Vegas, oh, you killed Jesus, you don't celebrate Christmas. I just would try to shun that off. Did you have a similar experience? Like, why did you
No.
I was reading something that you were
Oh,
not
yeah, I
ashamed,
didn't
but
really-
you didn't want people to know you were Jewish.
Well, this is the thing. So my first name was my first rap name was Kosha Dillz. That was just that, right? So I remember people were like, boo, like making fun of me, but maybe they're just roasting me. But I was internally like, because I was probably the first one born in America, I felt like I wasn't Israeli enough or American enough. You know what I mean? And my name is Rami, which is also Arabic name.
Yeah.
So it's like, and people weren't using their real names to rap at that era. There wasn't a thing. There was no.
It was always a
like,
different name.
It wasn't like Brian or Rap or Rami or you know what I'm saying? It was just, that's like a new thing. Kendrick Lamar, right? Is everything back then was like MF Doom, Kosha Dillz, Biggie Small. And no one was using their real name.
Yeah.
at
Everyone had a
all,
name.
right? So I was like, okay, Kosha Dillz, this is a way, and this is like a cool street way of having this name. And and also people will know that I'm Jewish, and that's a cool thing. So the Jewish rappers at the time were like Ill Bill and Necro, and they were just more hardcore dudes. So I thought for me, this is a great way to just sort of navigate that path, and just be like tough. Like I was all about like being like the strong identity, because I didn't really have an identity. So if I create this thing, then then I have some identity.
Something.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're always in. I'm not saying this in any negative way, but everything's really about acceptance, isn't it? In life, right?
Yeah.
So we're always kind of looking for that, and this is why we did this or we did that. So so when do you start saying, okay, I want to be a rapper? This is what I want to do for a living. Like, what age are you? Is that after the rehab?
Yeah, when I was like, I had songs and I wanted to put a record out. My boy Yak Balls was doing stuff.
What age is this?
This is like 17.
Okay, so 17. So this is before. Okay.
Yeah, he was really winning rap battles and doing well in music, and he's probably one of the best rappers still I know. And but he navigated just a different career path and life path, and then. But I was like, man, I got to put out a record while I'm in college, and I wanted to put a record out, and I still didn't get to put the record out, so now I'm coming out of jail. Now I'm getting sober, and I'm like, I want to put a record out, and then that's what I did.
Did you think being sober would mess with your rap game? Because a lot of artists, man, they're like, oh, I got to be high in the studio, I got to smoke weed to be creative.
Well,
did you go through that?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is when I got sober, I put out my first record, which I recorded when I was high. So, and I don't know if I was high, but I was like selling drugs. So like the one song was like chainsaw music. Another song was one of the songs. This song Zone Out. So I was still going by KD Flow. And then the KD Flow thing, like I said, it was like I don't want to be too Jewish, so I switched it to that. So that's why it wasn't Kosha Dill. It was just KD Flow. And then so like some people in New York will still call me KD that have known me like 20 plus years.
They know you as KD.
Yeah. Very few people, but they and that just when I came out with that, it was like okay, end of 2004, and I was like okay, Kosha Dillz. 2005, I put the record out, and I'm like, that was it. And then it's Kosha Dillz,
Gotcha.
and then that was sort of like, all right, now I have to start recording music as I'm sober. And I think the song "Harry Chester Hollywood" was my like big thing. I had like 7 months when I recorded it, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be the joint that's sort of like, it's me with like a vengeance, sort of a chip on my shoulder.
You're like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I want.
When's that moment? Is that moment where you're like, dude, I don't want to do anything else. No more cemetery knocking. I want to fucking be a rapper.
Yeah, I mean, well, cemetery knocking, they cut me off after I got locked up. They're like, it was so funny.
They're trying to.
I remember this phone call. Like just the other day, and he's like, Rami would like to sever all ties. I was like so ill that someone could say I'd like to sever all ties. Sever all ties? Who the fuck you guys think you are? And you're like, we're the cemetery. Like,
they're trying to sell you a discounted headstone, right?
You know what's interesting about cemetery? What people don't know is that you sell the cemetery plot, but then you sell the opening and closing of the cemetery plot. Like once you get the plot, it's not like you just go in there. You have to pay the people to put you in there.
And then what about isn't there a monthly for maintenance and mowing the grass that you have to like?
No,
it's like a condo.
yeah. Is there like maintenance fees, property taxes?
I just lost both my parents, right? So I had to pay for it. It was like $40,000, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, in a Jewish cemetery. He had to be cremated. He wasn't Jewish, but my mother is Jewish, so so. Inspiration-wise, Jonah David, he had a big part of,
Jonah, Jonah is cool. Yeah, Jonah, he's the one who connected me to Modest Yahoo in the beginning and stuff, because he was drumming for him, and that was sort of like my first step into the positive Jewish world, I would say. This is like this world of like, positive Jewry.
Yeah, and so you're going down that road. And then, do you tour with this guy or
I have in the past, when I started out and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was what's his name? How do you pronounce it?
Modest
Yahoo. He was a Hasidic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he got out of it, right? He's not really so religious anymore.
I would say he's pretty religious to me.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? I just think people like he doesn't look.
He doesn't have the look.
He doesn't have that look.
I understand.
Yeah.
The Judaism doesn't go away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like this right here, man. This is a 300-year-old star.
That shit looks like from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this is. I got this, man.
Wait, what is the story behind it?
It's a medieval. I bought it at an auction house for it's like 300-year-old Star of David, from like Austria.
So dope,
Like
dude.
600,
I seen
1700.
that.
Yeah.
I was like, that shit is not from Burning Man. You know what I mean? But you know, that shit would go off over there.
Hell yeah.
So, so we're in 2023, obviously. So like when you 2010, 2012, 2011, what are you doing? Like, how are you making a living doing this?
So I'm working at the rehab that I went to. This is like 2009. So now I'm sober, like, 5 years, kind of, stuff's going along. I'm doing well. Yeah, I was living in like 3-quarter houses in the first year. I think I finally got off probation, and the last of it, maybe 2009. And 2010, like, I'm living at my folks' house. I'm pretty much touring nonstop because I'm like, I got a car.
Are you going
I'm
around
sort
the
of-
country, East Coast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is like my age is like I'm 29, like,
Yeah.
28.
Is it too late for a record label at this point, or?
I don't know. Like, yeah, no, you're looking. And
Yeah.
I think when at 29, my first big break was after I won the Hot 97 battle at Giant Stadium. Then I got on this video game, NBA 2K.
Yeah.
They made me a playable character with like a celebrity rap. Like, so this is like a huge,
That's
I mean, it's like, it's
amazing.
crazy.
You get a paycheck on for this, right?
Actually, no. This was just like, it was like a last minute thing. I tried to get a song in through like a contest as like one of the songs on the soundtrack, and it ended up being like second place. I didn't get it. They're like, you want to just be a character? And I was like, yes. And I just like, I looked like myself. I was like balding. I was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, I didn't make I could have made myself like LeBron James, you know what I mean? But I didn't. So
That's cool.
Keep
I
it
was
real.
like, I choose like the Jewish characters, like Omri Caspian, Jordan Farmer. Like I was like, I'm gonna speak about this at synagogues one day. Like I figured out like, all right, I'm gonna navigate this little world of Jewish rap, and there's like not much happening in it. I mean, this is before Lil Dicky. This is Mac Miller had just come out. This is not.
This
really,
is like the and one mixtape days.
kind of, yeah, yep. So I got on this game. I'm like, this is. I remember I was on tour with my boys from Utah, Pigpen, rest in peace, and my boy Pat Main. And we went to this party. I'm like, I'm just on the verge of moving to LA. And in 2011, right before I turned 30, I moved to LA. And that was it. My parents left Edison. I was like, yeah, I'm
You're on your
out.
own.
And then, yeah, I'm going to go to Los Angeles,
Okay, so
Hollywood.
Let's talk about LA. So you get to LA. What do you do? What's it like for you? Culture shock? I mean, you've been there a few times touring.
Well, yeah,
or
the
what?
recovery stuff out there is very big, like just like sober life. It's just, where I got clean, there was like everyone was like in I don't know. I call it like Dunkin' Donuts blue collar culture. Like everyone's in construction working or like rebuilding houses and just kind of navigating life post addictions of heroin.
So you're working odd jobs too, or what? When you get to LA?
No, I'm like rapping. I had some money. I'm trying to do shows. I lived with a roommate that, I mean, I'm paying like $500 a month for rent. I think that was like the
Was that a
like,
lot to you back then?
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I can't really. But that was it. We're like sharing, you
Yeah.
know. But the rent back then was like $1,400 or something like, so it's like $700 and $700 or, it's just whatever. And navigating that, I think it just kind of laid me out into 2012, which was my big year. And then I had a Super Bowl commercial. And the Super Bowl commercial was like paid me
So you got some money.
exponentially. Yeah.
So what are we talking? 40, 50K at the time? Or is it
Yeah,
something in that
something
range.
like
So
around
that's
there.
like that's
And
the
that
biggest
was
money you've
just-
had.
Yes.
You're like, fuck drugs. I can make a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, and then I was
Yeah.
like, I was clean a long time, and but I was, just driving around, selling merch, selling CDs.
But you were smart though, right? You didn't like take 40K and go buy a fucking Mercedes, right?
No.
You were smart.
But I don't think I was smart.
No?
No.
No.
But the thing is, I like didn't work hard when I got it. I was like, I could chill now,
Yeah, mistake, man.
And it was a and if anything, it's like if you get a big check, the next couple of months you might be dry, and it's like all the
It
the
took your
little
drive away,
200s, and a big check took my drive
Yeah.
away. And I'm always I'm very big with excuses. Like I like the toughest thing for me is like a diet. I'm like, oh, okay, I treat myself. I should treat myself.
It's
I
easy
should
to
treat
have
myself.
one more piece of cake, you know?
It's easy to have one more piece of cake. It's easy to take an extra day on the vacation. You know what I mean? But you have to like sticking to. That's why I'm like, what really appeals to me today as an adult is definitely like people who wake up early. You know what I mean? Like you're like, could you wake up and be here? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yes. I was like, let's schedule it early. I want to have. That's so fire. Like I was just walking around seeing people out, 8 a.m. I'm like, yes, this is what's up. These people are like living real life. This is what my ancestors probably did. They woke up early. You know, my ancestors weren't like, I'm gonna sleep in.
Yeah,
fucking lazy fucks.
The morning in New York City is magical, and especially on the weekends. Saturday, I'm in financial district, but it's like I love the mornings there. It's so quiet. Like if you do that at night, 3 a.m., it's different because there'll be like wasted people stumbling around.
Right.
In the morning, it's like people walking their dogs. The birds are chirping, and the city's chill. And you're like, wow.
You get up late usually, or?
I mean, I'm a guy that kind of like a niner right now, and that's good for me. I used to be 10:30, 11:30, you know what I mean? And because it's
easy,
that,
right?
then because you're living this sort of, you know, nighttime life. But my goal is, I mean, the most successful people that I know wake up early. Like she told me, she's like, oh yeah, you're up early, and you're telling me you're at the gym by like 6:30, and then
like
you're
5:30.
running the business. And then to me, I'm like, well, that makes sense that you have a fucking 300-year-old going to be from Austria from an art house auction around your neck because you wake up at 6. Those other people, they ain't getting it like that. You know what I mean?
It's just habit. It just becomes habit after a while, you know? It's just,
Yeah.
So you get the Super Bowl check, right? That demotivates you a little bit. But then where do you go from there? So you think the next Super Bowl check's coming? Is that kind of the mindset?
You just think so, yeah. But, you know, the next Super Bowl check came for the producer because the producer is the one who got it. I didn't get it. I just made the song. He navigated that. So Jesse was my producer at the time, and he went on to like do Sia and I mean he does literally everybody in pop now, and you know, this is just a guy I knew, you know, through the years of just meeting rappers, and he was somebody who like navigated Los Angeles production really well. And 2015, I think I got a check rapping out. Was it? 2015, I got a big tour with CAA on Warped Tour, so that was like another.
The Warped Tour though, that's who are the artists?
It's like all pop punk stuff.
It's a famous thing, right? The
Yeah,
Warped Tour.
Vans Warped
So
Tour.
you're making money on this tour.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
it
you got
was
a steady check coming.
Yeah, check coming, and then you have, you know, the
You did a tour
merchandise.
bus? Tour bus?
Yeah, tour bus. It was so crazy. It's like I'm on a tour bus. I remember that because I remember people that I met. Specifically now, I'm remembering all the people that like I was on the tour with. This is coming up on 8 years ago, and then you're like, wow, what's next? And you get a booking agent, and then you go on the tour afterwards, and you're hoping that everyone's going to be there, and then they don't show up. You know, you're like, it's just like still selling CDs. We're still selling CDs, but Snapchat was introduced, and like that was a big thing. Instagram really wasn't yet what it is now.
It's peaking, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't it, but it was a cool era.
Would you be the guy in Times Square selling your CDs as well? Like, would you hustle like that?
But
or
I
no?
have a lot of respect for them.
Man, that's
No,
a hustle. But
that's
they
a
can't do
hustle.
it anymore, right?
Yeah, no, but they still do it.
still doing
They
it?
still do it. Dudes is legends.
I bought for them just to support it,
just
man.
to support the fucking grind.
Like
Yeah.
$5 or $10 or some shit.
Right.
When I first moved to New York.
And I knew a guy, the dude, he was like homeless, and he was like, yo, man, I was like, I hustled. I got a Mercedes from selling CDs in Hollywood Boulevard. And he would like wake up early and do yoga, just go grind this shit out. And he was telling me, he would tell people like, yo, if you don't sell drugs, like just sell blank CD. Like you might as well better off just selling CD because these people aren't even listening. They just want to support you.
That's how Hammer started, man.
Huh?
That's how MC Hammer started. He started by...
Those are the best. I'm telling you, those are the. And he told me something that Peter Parker 513. Shout out to him. He told me something so like it's a spiritual really for me because rejection is like a huge thing in my life that I really try to incorporate of like just to kind of get the grease rolling every day. You're like, all right, you got to make some calls that people are like not interested, not interested, not interested till you get to the yes. Absolutely. And he was like, yo, let's get the no's out the way. Let's get the no's out the way. No, that's all good. No, okay, let's get the no's out the way. As you get 50 no's, you're going to get a couple of yeses during the day. And then you hit your quota, right? And it's like, you know, you're in business. That's how you got to do that.
Man, I wanted a production company called like 900 No's But One Yes Productions because it's right. It's like you have to get those no's.
Is that real?
I wanted to start at that, but I sold cars, and the guy that taught me how to sell, this is when I really became a really good salesman. He would show people cars that he knew they would not want to buy, just so they would say no. So they would say no 10 times. eventually they're gonna go, okay, I like this one. You're showing me this shit. No, 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 no. But check out this one. Oh yeah, you know. And it kind of you're onto something. It's you got to get those no's out of the way.
Yeah, man.
And then you get the yeses. So you're doing the Warped Tour. You get off the Warped Tour. Is it now what's facing you there? Is it like a depressing thing or like?
No, I mean after every tour you're gonna be depressed. By the way,
because you're on this high, man.
You're on this high, and this goes for any show. You're like, oh man, we killed it. This is awesome. It's gonna blow up, and then it's like doesn't.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't blow up, then you're like, okay, what does that do? All right, then you're just on to the next, and you really have to be. And this is why a booking agent, having a proper team is in order. So that way, when you're like doing the cool thing about Warped Tours is it's a lot of physical labor, and I love physical labor. Like I was saying, you had to be up at 7 a.m. setting up tents, setting up merch stands, putting up posters.
Where are you traveling to on the tour? Like,
every city in America.
Small,
dude.
big, Chicago,
yeah,
Indiana.
any city. I've been to every state in America, every spot. Noblesville, Indiana.
How many people are showing up here to these events?
There'll be like 10,000 a day at a festival, but like at your stage, there's gonna be like 150.
So you're starting on the lower end.
Yeah, we're on the smaller stages, exactly. And
but you're just thankful to be there.
Yeah, because you get to you're selling, you're hustling, and people are like, oh, I missed you, but I want to support you, and
So you would make some cash every day. You'd be
you're selling your merch. That's like the main thing.
200, 300, 400, 500 a day sometimes.
No, you're trying 700 to like 1,500.
That's great. And then you go rap for 35 minutes or 40 minutes, right? A 40
yeah,
minute
that's it. And then you're just selling all day.
And then go back to sleep in the bus.
That's it. And then you just sleep, and you're so exhausted from the sun that you just literally sleep till the next city.
And the fucking best part, man, is you don't ever have to wake up with a hangover or
that's it. And honestly, you don't have to drive. And the big thing about the tour was that people that were following the tour had died trying to do the drives. The drives were like 8 hours overnight. It's really, it was like a treacherous drive.
But you're on a tour bus with other artists, and you're
yeah,
in your
other
little
bands
bunk.
and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like they call them. Basically they were ships. You know what I mean? They were like bunks like this, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, my friend was in Third Eye Blind, and so I would hang out with them, and then they would have the other bus for the people that put everything together. Mm-hmm. So they're in like a stacked bus.
Yeah, they're stacked. Yeah, I mean once and that was it. Like that's just how the thing operated. So you navigate, and then you go back on a regular tour, and there's like 50 people. But it's different. If I could do that, see, the thing is when you become part of like a circus, right? And this is like where Wild 'N Out is or Warped Tour. Everyone's already there for the brand that you're under, right? It's like you have a business, right? You have this business, everyone's here working. But when you start your own business, there's like you and one other person, right? And it's lonely over there, right? It's not the same. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. Like like reality strikes back. It's nice to be part of circus, but you really have to build up your own thing, and you have to kind of balance how to do both.
So at this point in the tour, when you're like warped and you're with all these musicians, is it hard for you to maintain sobriety at this point, or you're like locked in?
No. This is
Is it on the bus around you? Are people smoking joint? Is it like full on around you?
That. That's the thing. Like I kind of lost a desire to use, and on that tour, there's 12-step meetings every day because it's like super mental health positive. It's like
cool. There's people going through the same, recovering as well.
Exactly. And so, but like if you jump, just out of that, and then like I said, after those tours, and then 2018 I went back and did it again. I was bigger, but I did the underground stage. Like I didn't get paid to do the tour, but I was making more money selling stuff because my merchandise was way better.
And you're using social media at the time now. It's helping a little bit.
Social media is a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit bigger. This is 2018. And and then that was the last time that happened. So like 5 years since.
And are you still in LA at the time?
Yeah.
When you come back here?
Well, I moved to Israel like the end of 2019, and then there was like just a couple things that felt happened. Like I got hit by a car twice on a bike, and I was like, I got to get out of here. And I was like, I'm going to Israel. I'm going to Israel.
Do you get insurance money when you get hit? Like, it's not your fault, obviously, or was it your fault?
No, I got hit a little bit, but I felt like I got PTSD. I did get a little settlement, like nothing, just basically to cover the hospital bill.
Are you smart though? Are you like when you're on Warp? Are you going, I'm starting to make a steady income here. Mm-hmm. I know I'm going to come back. The tour's going to be over, and there's not a job waiting for me. Are you saving your money?
Yeah. At this time, I'm saving.
Because we're Jewish, we got to save every penny, right?
Yeah, well, people don't know how to save money. I don't know. I think it was installed in me maybe because my parents had nothing, you know, and most of my family died in the Holocaust that we saved. Like my grandfather saved a lot of money.
Was your grandparents in the Holocaust?
Everyone was everyone on my mother's father's side and everyone on my father's side died. So, and I'll go into that. Like I do a lot of Jewish events, so a lot of my speaking, you know, I ended up doing like a lot of like community work that I do is in that world. And like today I'm performing for a bunch of kids in Central Park. Like I'm speaking, you know, like almost like a TED talk to kids that are going to be like soldiers, lone soldiers in
Jewish
Israel.
kids.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
that's good, man.
but I started going overseas, planting seeds everywhere. I'm just like planting seeds everywhere I go, different kind of thing. And a big thing, you know, because of the freestyle rap, I start freestyling about businesses. But freestyling about businesses is like, it's a gem because then it's like you get private gigs to freestyle. Yeah, you get corporate gigs and you get branding gigs. So, you know, I freestyled about my first collab was a Bud Light commercial, which I had at the Super Bowl commercial was with Bud Light. So I already have like a resume of people that have used my stuff that people want to be associated with. And now if you just jump into, you know, living in Israel, coming back, the pandemic happened. Pandemic was like, as horrible as the pandemic was, it was a gift to like artists because now artists are getting unemployment, which never happened in history. We were not considered employees; we were just considered savages.
Yeah, or 10, yeah.
And then I started busking a little bit in L.A. and then busking.
What's busking?
Busking is when you sing in the street.
Okay.
So I was like, I could get free, freestyle on the street.
People tip you?
People tip you. You could sell your merch.
What are you making a day doing that if you did?
Just going out for 2 hours and making $100, $200, but like basically enough to like just pay little bills here and there without digging into your savings. And I tell you what, if I did that with the Super Bowl stuff and I was like right away.
Kept the hustle.
Yeah, because the hustle, if you go out and it's like going to the gym. Like I said, it's like, okay, you're not building building today, but you're a construction worker, so you're shoveling concrete. And that like busking is like a spiritual experience for me where you're just out and you're kind of like physically in motion. Because if you suffer from depression and anxiety, you just gotta be doing in the body.
It's fulfilling a need
if
as
you're
well.
doing something in your body, your mind is gonna be like releasing endorphins. Like,
Do you feel? Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just feel that for me to be in some sort of physical motion, it really helps my mental. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Like, yeah, so if I'm at home, I'm not good with the computer. It's better off for me to delegate tasks and,
So it feels good, though, when you're, say you're rapping on the street, you have a little audience, people are clapping for you. I mean, it makes you feel good. It feels that need, man, that acceptance, right? It's good. Going back to the Holocaust, right? So I had a girlfriend that was a Holocaust, her grandparents were in the Holocaust. And so they used to take and going back to like money and saving, it's not how much money you make, it's really how much you save, And they literally would take money and not put it in the banks. The money would be in the pickle jars and the toilets for her family. Like we're talking, 10, 15 years ago. It's
my grandfather did the same thing. He buried, when he passed away, they found money buried under the floor.
My grandma, same thing, man. She had money under her mattress.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, we were shocked.
And I still do shit I have like piggy banks and stuff. Like I still have them.
Wow.
I put change, and every time I go home, I put $5, $10, $20, and I just stash it, and it's like a thing. And I don't know, it's nostalgic for me because it's like you can't tell. Like I've been basically from now. Since the pandemic, people know me as a street performer. People know me as rapping in the street. I mean, Josh, who connected us, knows me as he was like doing these crazy raps in the street. And once I figured out, I went viral for the first time in New York City. I never went viral before. There was like some YouTube videos I had with big YouTubers and stuff that had like 1 million views, but it wasn't my YouTube channel. It was like other people's stuff.
So they were making the bread off it.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was just like, everyone's like, you should do YouTube. And I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to like upload. And that's basically why I didn't do it, because I'm afraid to get structured to do it, right? Not because I was really lazy. I just want to put that out there in case anyone else is hesitating whether they should make shit, and they're just like, I don't want to get 1 like or 2 likes or whatever. I still get 1 or 2 likes after I've had videos with millions, right? But the street performing, I have I did a TED talk in Poland, and it's called Freestyle Rap Saved My Life, which you could look up. But it's a TEDx talk, and I want to say it's the best TEDx, but it's true. Like me freestyling and rapping in the street, something I didn't want to do. I started freestyle rapping because no one knew my songs, right? Because no one knows my songs, and I want to impress them. You have to impress them on the spot. So people start rapping. People are like, oh shit. Now, when I started busking on the streets in New York, the only job you could get, because you can't do any shows, right? So when I came to New York in the summer of 2020, It was the only place you could do music, right?
Just on the street.
That's it. Yeah. That's the same thing I did in Israel. People never seen it, and when that happened, that's when everything sort of changed for me, and I started going viral. Started going.
How'd you get the gig with Nick Cannon?
I was
Wild
rapping
and Out.
outside MSG. I had a viral video with Fat Joe. That Fat Joe joined me in like a rainstorm.
You guys boys?
Huh?
You guys boys? You know him or?
No, we're not boys.
Yeah, just met him.
Just but he shows me love though. Yeah, you know what I mean. How we met, I don't like to say that I'm boys with, but on the internet he'll acknowledge me and stuff, which is a great look,
Good endorsement.
But I would totally be boys with Fat Joe. I'm saying, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
exactly,
I'm
yeah.
sure he's a great guy, and but that led to like a viral Hanukkah song. So then I had my first Hanukkah song with
That was
Nassim
big.
Black.
That was
a
big.
big one, and then from there I got the audition, like the call back, and I was auditioning for like trying to get on there for years. And then, I went to Atlanta. I navigated that. I did really well in the auditions, and I got on. And I
You're
just
regular.
Yeah, the season's on now. It's
Paycheck.
like,
Paid gig,
it's a
man.
paycheck.
Good
It's
for
just
you.
like it's a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's another thing. I mean, it's not the only job I have, but it's another job. And it's a great elevator that really helps a lot of other brand deals come in and things like that.
Yeah, it
'Cause
gives you a good platform.
People want to be in proximity, I think, to people that are on the rise to success, and it inspires other people. Like if you see me rapping on the street, and now I'm on television, and it's still rapping on the street, because there's plenty of television shows that I'm not on that I want to be on. I want to make movies. I made my first film. There's just like a lot of stuff I've gotten into, and it's just started happening all within
It's
the
a
past
good
12
platform.
months.
So with Wild and Out, so you're on the season, but are you guaranteed another season, or you have to?
Yeah, so I did season 18. I just shot season 19 and 20, and I'm about to go shoot season 21.
So there you go. That's pretty cool,
hopefully,
man. That's good. And where do they shoot that? Here in New York?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. So they put you up. You go to Atlanta. How long how long you there for?
You're there for a couple weeks.
They
or
put you in a
2 weeks,
hotel?
1 week. Yeah, just exactly.
Per
Just-
diem every day?
Yes, just like
regular
television.
production,
Yeah, it's just like this. Car,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
pull up, car takes you to the airport,
Yeah.
walks you in,
Yeah. That's
hucks
cool.
you up, and all you gotta do is just kill shit
That's awesome.
every day and have fun. And that's the thing. Like, I think just going back to when I went to Israel is a big thing. I probably should tell this more. I just randomly got off medication and stuff like that, and I was like on some outside medication that was just helping my anxiety. And then just recently, probably, I got back on it, and I was going through like huge anxiety. And you could see it, and I saw it on television.
On Wild and
recently.
Out?
Yeah, I saw it. I was like this.
That was a wake up call.
Well, I'm
recognize,
changed,
yeah.
right? But I was like, dude, I remember that moment, how crazy I was just tripping.
In your mind, right? But no one else could see it.
But you could see it on TV because now the fucking camera is on, you're watching, you're like, holy shit. Not that I was like unhappy, I was preoccupied about something. And I was like, dude, everyone else having a great time around me. And it was just one episode, right? But it could have been other moments too, you know what I'm saying? Off camera too. So, because if that's a reflection of Anka, what was happening before I got on the stage. I wasn't like smiling before I was getting on stage. So that's why it's great to be prepared. It's great to wake up early. It's great all these things that lower my anxiety today are like just positive things, which include working out is a huge thing, like physical body, the release.
Preparation's everything.
Preparation, dude.
Take us to Wild and Out though. So you're on the show. So you're basically just freestyling, like roasting each other, right?
Yeah.
What's it like right before like that second right before it's on to you? Is that anxiety?
Yeah. It's nice to you're basically like prepping for yourself to see if the bar hits or if the crowd reacts to what you're gonna say, because it's pretty much like punchline, joke, set up, punchline, set up, punchline. You're like boom, 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 boom. It's not this jab. It's because it's really quick, right?
You have to
because
be-
TV's gonna just cut the fat. So when you're up there, you're like, oh, this needs to be you're just throwing haymakers a lot of times.
But you have to be on every
And
time.
so you got to be on it. So obviously you really have to know if your shit's going to hit. So you got to be really deliberate, clear, and concise with your stuff.
Are you high when you not in a emotional high? So when you get off, when you're done, like okay, cut, we're done for the day. There's emotional high, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
It
best
makes me
high.
laugh
Isn't that's the best high, right?
That's the best one. But then that's gonna fade because success off that instant is fleeting. Because honestly, it's just you just delivered your lines on television which is what you're supposed to do. Everyone's doing it, And also, if someone delivers them to you and someone hits you, you have to sort of like take a punch, like in WWF or WWE. Like if someone tries to body slam you and you're not trying to let them body slam you, like it doesn't work for like the whole show, right?
You have to engage.
You have to engage. Like you have to get body slammed too, essentially.
That's a good way. That's awesome that's a good way to look at things.
And it's not personal. Everyone be like, oh my God, how could you let them do that to you? And be like, it's the WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get body slammed. You can't just be beating everyone up. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think people need to realize that, like, if you get slammed, like, that's kind of part of life, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you almost need to get slammed sometimes in life. You need failure. You need it.
You got to take an L occasionally.
I know you have to run soon, so let's just talk about what inspired you to do the Kanye diss track.
Oh, the Kanye diss?
You like Kanye, right? I mean,
I really loved Kanye. Like, I don't really like it anymore. I mean, it doesn't mean that he's not a good creative.
He is creative, yeah.
Did you guys see the Lex Friedman podcast?
I did see the Lex Friedman podcast.
That was pretty good. I liked that. It's the only interview where I've seen someone really like.
Yeah, I think
draw a line with him somewhat.
Was he on the show? He was on the show with him?
Yeah, Lex really challenged him, and Lex is such a great interviewer. He's
I mean,
Jewish.
The thing is, you don't got to be Jewish to like obviously stand up against what Kanye said.
Exactly.
That's guaranteed.
I see why now. I'm putting it together now.
And there's just definitely different and I don't want to. There's like different types of Jewish people, but there are people that. Coming from my story that I share with you is mad important for me to just take a stand. Now, it's also like somebody else would be like, you should have just tried to collaborate with Kanye. There would have been an opportunity to collaborate.
I forgot he roasted Jewish.
But I'm just like, sometimes you got to tell people to go suck a dick. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
With the most respectfully, I guess is the way, the expression. And I was encouraged. I saw people that were, just really a significant woman in my life. Like she wrote something about it, and then I'm just like, dude, I just told myself, like, you're a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Stop being a fucking pussy, Rami, and just go fucking drop a couple racks on a fucking video and go into Crown Heights and shoot some crazy shit and go do it, because I've shot so many things I thought were so dope and then to just completely fail, and who cares? And honestly, you're like, people are like, what's gonna happen with Wild 'N Out? And Wild 'N Out was canceled because of anti-Semitism. So I was like the first Jewish guy on that show.
But they canceled him but brought it back though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because of Nick.
Yeah, because he's navigated properly, like how to, and it's anti-Semitism, such an interesting beast, right? But sometimes you don't really need any of that. Put all that shit aside and just say, you know what, on some real rap stuff, on some, I have heart, and I'm really proud to be a Jew, and I'm gonna do this for a lot of people that don't have a voice. I'm gonna do something, and I'm investing my art, and it's gonna go well or go not, because I'm rapping outside in rainstorms, I'm dressing up in outfits, I'm doing all this viral stuff, and then this is like something that's just real, and it got on a Good Morning Britain, it got on. Got millions of views on Twitter, the behind the scenes. It got hundreds of thousands online. It got on a Hulu documentary. I mean, it was just like so many things happened from me going into my fear and saying, you know what, I'm going to go through. And I was very nervous to do this. Like, I was in a studio. I was like going through some really crazy life experiences at the time. And I'm just like, I'm going to do this. It really means a lot to me. And that was it. And then it came out, and then it just opened a bunch of other doors. And I think that's like life. You just got to open up a door by standing up for yourself and other people.
As a Jew, man, I totally forgot what he did. Now it's all coming back, and I'm like, why did you diss him? And now I know why.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
and then
totally
the
forgot about
overpass in
that.
LA, the people the next day, they were like putting the signs up.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
shit
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me right now? For him to not acknowledge what the chain
he's an
reaction is.
But now they're like figuring out how to sell his stuff, because like, well, it doesn't make sense to like burn all his shit, and it's like, see, like 6 months later, people forget about it.
I was so offended at the time, but then I just kind of like, I live in a bubble sometimes, man, like with work and all that, and now it's like all hitting me right now, going, man, well, I'm proud of you for doing that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm watching. I'm like, is that the video? No, it's a construction worker. I'm trying to figure out, the next steps, and that's it, man.
Right.
Every day I'm like trying to just that spoke to me. Whatever speaks to me to have fun. I'm not like I don't really diss people like unless it's on television or battle rap. But I like it now that I'm doing comedy and transforming into something different. But a big part of my like process now is like I just made a short film about the Holocaust. I was in Poland. I did I'm just exploring different ways of really tackling anti-Semitism in just creative manners. So
That's awesome. So the short film, like, what are you doing with that? Are you just something you did on your own? Is there like a production company?
I shot the short film. It's called Not Everything Has to Be So Serious. It's basically a dark comedy about two guys two friends from school that go rediscover. One of the guy recently discovers he's part Jewish, so they go to the Anne Frank house and the concentration camps, and it's like a dark comedy.
It's scripted.
Yeah, it's
And then what are you doing with it? You gonna
film festivals,
Like it's all-
festivals. Yeah, we're just gonna reshoot another scene, I think, before we submit it to maybe add a New York element to it. But I'm really excited about it, and it was the scariest thing that I've probably done because I just think it's gonna be bad. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be like music. Like I'm a newbie. I don't come from film. I come from directing my own little internet videos and music videos, but not that.
That's how I started. I mean, I was always the guy like on the weekends watching 4 or 5 movies. I made a movie. One day I said, look, I'm gonna make a movie. I did it. I was picked up by Hulu, and so it was like, and it was the best experience of my life. I want to do more and more and more. Were you saying you were doing some documentary, or are you still working on that?
I mean, someone did a documentary about me. They got rejected from a bunch of festivals, but I saw the shit. I'm like, this is pretty fucking dope. Like I'm animated. There's all kind of extra things in it. And then this short film, I have a TV series that I just wrote with my writing partner Menachem, who's out in LA, and that's really exciting. Like just that we're on that course to finish.
Yeah, we're a production company that sponsors Red Button Films as well.
No, I seen it. So I'm just like, you could take your hustle and you could just put it into something that you want to see come to vision. And that's the thing that like hustlers have, is that if you want to see something, you could just be like, we could do that. You
can do anything.
Who do we
right?
get?
Yeah.
Who do we get in right place? It might not be us, but
Get the right people.
It's like
in the
what
right
you were
place.
saying earlier with the fear and like public performance, where it's like you go out and do it, and then you're like, wow, this is actually good for my mental health. It's like nobody likes to be a beginner. I do all sorts of sports, snowboard, skateboard. I have so many friends that are really good at like surfing, but they suck at snowboard and they won't even try because they don't want to suck at something and be like a newbie with sports. And the same with film.
Man.
It's like it's a
Failing is
practice
great.
with film. Yeah.
My whole life was failure, man. Until you
to.
need that failure, man.
Yeah,
you
dude.
need that failure. All right, man. Well, you got anything for him?
No, that's amazing. And so the next season is coming. Is airing when?
Next season's out now. Yeah,
Oh, it is?
It's on
Okay.
Wild 'N Out every Thursday. So season 19, and I think season 20 will be on shortly after.
And then where do people go to follow along and like watch? Is it where are you most active?
Yeah,
on socials?
for that show, it's on VH1 and Paramount Plus. But everything for me is Kosha Dillz. I'll be posting clips. KOSHADILLZ.
Gotcha. All right, and then one more thing before we let you go. Now we appreciate having you. The charities that you're involved with, are you?
Oh yeah, Blue Card. Blue Card is this Holocaust organization I work with. They provide a when I run marathons, I raise money for them through New York Marathon and Brooklyn Half. They basically provide assistance and services to Holocaust survivors living below the poverty line all across America.
The survivors and the families of the survivors?
No, just survivors.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm sure after all the survivors will pass in the coming years, right? Then they'll shift to certain. It might shift to different
Do you
strategy.
have a number? Do you have a number on how many actual survivors are left? Because we're
It's
talking
a couple
like
100,000, but we lose about 40 a day. I think that's the exact amount. And there's many around the world still. But in 20 years, it's going to be there's going to be to the last because some of the youngest right now are like 81, 80, 82, baby survivors. And then we have Value Culture is this organization at work. I do a lot of stuff in Black and Jewish relations. It's called, I do an event series called Solvay. It's like, Black and Jewish Art Collaborative.
That's great.
So, but Value Culture, I work with them a lot, and they're based in the Bay Area.
Awesome. All right, man. Hey, man, we appreciate having you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming on.
it, dude.
All right.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing, man. We do this for all our guests.
Uh-huh.
Just want to give you something.
Oh, dope.
We
yeah.
appreciate it. This is for you.
What's
Go ahead and
this?
just open it up.
Oh shit.
You know. So we got you like a kosher keychain.
Oh man, Gucci. What? This is crazy. That's crazy.
So, you know,
Keychain?
yeah.
Holy
It's
shit.
bright. You like colors.
Yo, this is wild. Oh my god.
All right, well, now you got
God, dude, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely, dude.
But I need a lot of blessings. Think you got hate, bro? You should see the comment section. Call me fake Hebrew. Blame for living life. Rabbi Heschel, MLK, March 54 for civil rights.